I'm upset. No disrespect, respectfully. But disrespectfully, it's disrespect. Don't be disrespectful. Those vile, disgusting Spartans. Poor little bro, them. And I'm gonna tell him why I'm mad. That vile, disgusting cesspool in Columbus, the other state, and of course, as always, I'm upset.
Maize and Blue Nation, it's Tom Brady. I co-founded Autograph with one mission in mind: change the fan experience for the better. That's why I'm excited to announce the release of a new app that recognizes the biggest Michigan fans. The Autograph Fandom app gives you access to the best Michigan content, fan challenges, and exclusive rewards for diehard Wolverines, all for doing the things you already do, like listening to this podcast. Head over to the Apple App Store and search for Autograph Rewarding Fans and download today.
Good evening, good people. It is I, the Maize Madman. Welcome. Let me say that first. If you haven't already, hit the like button. 12 people, we need 12 likes. Today, if you read the description of this video, you know what we're here to talk about. And that is the NCAA just received another lawsuit, this time by a few Michigan legends. We'll also get into Coach Sherrone Moore finally getting a real contract, one that is signed on actual paper, one that he can take to his lawyers, one that can be litigated in court, whatever, so on and so forth. Not that, the MOU, as they put it, couldn't be litigated in court. But anyway, it's real, right? He's locked in at least 5 years by all the accounts, and we got a coach for the foreseeable future. Brett Sullivan says the NCAA will fall. I believe this 1000%, Brett. But let's start here. Michigan legends sue the NCAA. Anybody who doesn't know, former Michigan players, Braylon Edwards, Michigan's all-time leader in receptions, receiving yards, and receiving touchdowns, teamed up with Denard Robinson, a.k.a. Shoelace, Michigan's second all-time leader in rushing yards, and a couple other former Michigan players to form a lawsuit against the NCAA. This one alleges that NIL money for decades basically was unlawfully, not given basically to these players, and they're seeking compensation from the NCAA and the Big Ten Network for unlawful use of their likeness, if you will. Now, this is for players that played before 2016 because of the statute of limitations, the other lawsuits that have been filed against the NCAA, and NIL compensation prior to 2021 rule was changed and stretches back to 2016. So this is for players before 2016. In this ruling, or it's not a ruling yet, but in this lawsuit, the former players, like I said, Braylon Edwards, Denard Robinson, former defensive lineman Michael Martin, and former linebacker Sean Crable, all teamed up for this suit. It is called the House versus the NCAA antitrust lawsuit. And like I said, they are looking to get upwards of $50 million in back compensation. Talk about it in the chat. What do you guys think? Shout out to Dom, finally, right? My man, the maniac, getting coach signed is definitely good news. Absolutely. You know it 1000%. My man, and a member, by the way, if you're not a member, become a member. G Boulder was the first member of the Maize Madman membership group. So shout out to G Boulder. Shout out to all of the people who have signed up to become a member, including my guy, Troy Wilbert. Troy, we still got to get that game in on the college football game. I haven't forgot. You're not off the hook, sir. I'm upset, of course, getting coach contract signed. Well, I already read that from my guy, the maniac. Go blue, everybody, for sure. David Prudence. So yeah, so these players have joined forces. Shout out to DK, that's my guy too. Joined forces to sue the NCAA. This is grand because, of course, the NCAA served Michigan a couple weeks ago with an NOA, or notice of allegations, from the incident stemming from Connor Stallions and Spygate, if you will, Spygate 2.0, or sign stealing. And now Michigan players have returned the favor to the NCAA and are suing them. $50 million again is what they're seeking. I think they got a legit argument. I think part of their lawsuit stems from the Big Ten Network and the NCAA still using old footage for classic games or whatever it is, of these players from that time, still benefiting financially from those guys, off the backs of those guys that weren't playing during the NIL time. But that's where we are today. Look who joined the chat. Are we playing the Shannon Sharp Instagram live post? Shannon was on that. Yo, I don't know if anybody heard that, but Shannon Sharp must have forgot that he was on Instagram live and he was doing some grown-up activities. And those grown-up activity sounds were being made in the background. Shout out to Unc, though. Shannon Sharp is hilarious. Hail, of course, Blue Wolverine. Always go blue. David Pruden clearly saw it. That's hilarious. Anyway, let's get to the other big news. Finally, Sherrone Moore gets an actual contract. This one, like I said, signed on actual paper, not a Charmin toilet paper strip. It's an actual contract, not an MOU as they called it, or what is it? Some understanding, basically. He has a full length contract. He is due to be the Michigan head coach, as long as, things go well, for 5 years. Reported 5.5 million in the first year. That could go even higher because he has up to 3.5 million in bonuses that he could reach, including a bonus for winning the Big Ten title, a bonus for winning the national championship. Now, granted, he might not get that bonus this year, the way Michigan is playing, but we're still holding out hope that Michigan rights this ship and we come back and get that thing done. You heard J.K. Dobbins saying Michigan last 3 wins against the other state won't count. He's bugging. He absolutely is bugging. I did see that. J.K. Dobbins, running back for Coach Harbaugh's now, I was going to say San Diego, Los Angeles Chargers, got a game ball after the game by Harbaugh, which Harbaugh will need back, according to the video. The other state running back, J.K. Dobbins, said that he doesn't believe that those 3 wins are going to stand up after the notice of allegation, after the NCAA basically is finished with Michigan. And I'm here to tell him he's very wrong. J.K. Dobbins said that he believes that those wins will be vacated. And guess what? I spoke to Maury.
The lie detector determined that was a lie.
The amount of copage that the other state fans are doing with this whole, sign stealing thing is insane. Here's the facts, people. We know that everybody still signs, right? The lengths that Connor Stallions allegedly, and I say that because nothing's been proven, the lengths that Connor Stallions allegedly went to steal signs is one thing, right? And it is a violation of NCAA rules if he did what they say he did, right? But the rule, and this is where they're being a little disingenuous with their fervor, is the rule was put in place not so that schools like the other state in Michigan couldn't do it to each other. It was put in place so that schools like NIU, sorry, Notre Dame fans, could have a fair playing ground against a team like Notre Dame, who could afford to send people to places all over the country, while maybe NIU, who received $1.4 million to go to South Bend and put a beat down on the Irish, maybe could not, right? That's what it is. So don't be intellectually disingenuous and try to act like, this thing is the end of the world, by the way, which, by the way, again, nothing has been proven. And act like this is some crazy idea. Before the communications in the helmet, everybody was stealing signs. That's just the fact. Everybody was either stealing signs or trying to steal signs. If you weren't as good as somebody else at doing it, shame on you. But again, I digress. Looks like we have a Buckeye fan in the chat. No, he did not. Brett Wolverine Gage, nothing like Saturday. See you in November. I promise you don't want to see us in November, according to the last 3 matchups. This year, I get it. You guys look pretty decent against the YMCA East and West, whatever. But come November, I'm positive that Michigan will have found their footing, and it will be a lot different than that Texas game. I'm not going to sit here and guarantee a Michigan win, but it won't be like the product they put on the field against Texas. If you haven't already, be sure to like the live, subscribe to the channel if you haven't, and share this with your friends on social media. We move on to, let's look ahead to this upcoming Saturday. Michigan will be home against Arkansas State. A few quick hitters about Arkansas State. They are 2-0. All right, this is elite football program. 2-0 on the young season. I'm joking. They're not an elite program, but they are 2-0 with wins over Central Arkansas and Tulsa. Both of them close wins, by the way. I'm expecting this to be a game that Michigan can find their footing. Michigan should be able to dominate up front in the trenches on both the offensive and defensive sides of the ball. Now, that said, Arkansas State does have a couple gamers on this team, including their leading receiver, Corey Rucker, who has already caught 13 passes for 239 yards and 2 touchdowns. He is averaging about 120 yards a game right now so far. And their quarterback, Jalen Raynor, already has thrown for 572 yards and 3 touchdowns. That compared to our starting quarterback, one Mr. Davis Warren, who has thrown for 322 yards over 2 games, 2 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. That is not the way you want that to be, but that's the reality for Michigan today. Let's talk about it in the comment section. What are you guys expecting to see from Michigan? What do you think you will see? What are you expecting to see at the quarterback position? Is it Davis Warren again? Do we get more Alex Orji? There's been talk about Jack Tuttle in practicing. Does he get some snaps? Let's talk about it in the chat. You spitting fire right now, my brother. Oh, I got bars. Oh no, State out here playing the FCS Pandas. Shout out to David. Should win by 4 touchdowns. No doubt about it. I agree with that. The other state plays Dearborn School for Deaf and Blind. Damn it, man. My guy, Steely Matt. I met in the other state chat. I forget for which podcast that was. I think it was Mello's pod. Shout out to my guy Mello, by the way, a fan of the other state. But shout out to Steely Matt for coming through. Look, CW and Steely know each other. Buckeye fans sticking together. You love to see it. See you in November, CW, for sure. We definitely gonna see them in November. Dumb Talk Brent. Who is Brent? Oh, I guess that's one of these people they know. Yeah. So anyway, the game this Saturday between Arkansas State and Michigan should be an exhibition, basically, for Michigan to kind of right the ship. Get some offense. That's what we really want to see. And by the way, get back to Michigan football right now. There is no identity for the Wolverines. That's part of the problem. We cannot run the ball effectively. Although last week, I won't say that Michigan, it looked like they could run the ball at times, but either way, cannot run the ball effectively. Certainly through 2 games have not been able to pass the football, whether that is a problem at quarterback, which I do believe it is, or a problem along the offensive line, which it also is, you certainly can't have the both of them not functional. And if the offensive line is going to be bad, then certainly the quarterback cannot. And that needs to be rectified before Michigan can see any sort of success. What's good, Steely? Shout out to you, man. I appreciate you coming through. Even though you are a fan of that vile, disgusting cesspool in Columbus, it's all love at the end here. I'd say 40-3 something thereabouts. I agree. That score right there sounds about right. 52 donut is what we need to feel good about it. I agree, man. And we do need a big score. We need some offensive fireworks. And I'm not even necessarily talking through with the passing game. We just need to be able to run the ball. I expect anything, less than 200 yards rushing is a failure. 220 yards rushing feels like a failure, honestly. We need something upwards of 250, something like that on the ground to really reestablish what Michigan has been over the last 3 years. And that is a run-first football team. And to play, obviously keeping the ball away from the other team's offense and keeping our defense off the field. That's one of the things that Texas really took advantage of. It was a lot of 3-and-outs, a lot of opportunities for Texas's offense, and they really gassed Michigan's defense. But it wasn't just that they gassed them, because from the kickoff, from the moment the ball kicked off, they were just all over Michigan's defense. I got to give Sarkisian some credit for that. But Michigan has to rebound and learn from those mistakes. I don't care about the score as much as we found our rhythm and look and play better. I agree with this, G. Though a big score, a lopsided score would feel amazing. What would feel better than that is Michigan getting back to looking like the Michigan football team, or at least some remnant of the Michigan football team that we've all been watching the last few years. Mike Layton says Sark picked us apart. No doubt about that. Sark had a field day with Michigan's defense. Wink better have that D looking good. Pause. Super pause, man. But yeah, the defense certainly needs to look better than it did last week. I'm gonna be honest, the defense wasn't super impressive. In week one. The most impressive part about week one was Josiah Stewart, getting to the quarterback, which he was not able to do against Texas, and of course, Will Johnson's pick six at the end. But other than that, the defense wasn't the defense that we're used to seeing either. The bar set at last year's MSU game would be adequate. I agree, CR. A 49-0 drumming would feel amazing. I'm going to be honest with you. When does Don have more than 20 yards in a game? Asking for a friend. Shout out to Quack 30. Actually, I think he went over 20 yards this past weekend. I think he had something like 51 yards and even was getting like 5 yards a carry. But I could be wrong. But he certainly was getting like 5 yards a carry. He definitely needs to play better. We know that. Whether it's in the passing game, getting him out on the edge in the passing game, or lining him up out wide. And his running between the tackles last week, I will give him some credit for. He looked to run a little harder between the tackles. But Mullings runs hard every play, it seems like. Shout out to my guy Blue Wolverine for the super chat with the credit card symbol. Shout out to Blue Wolverine. I appreciate it. You are a mad man. My guy Dom, okay, through the whistle, both sides of the ball. Yeah, I think he means play through the whistle. But sure, absolutely, I agree with that. They're more of a basketball school. Who we talking about? Wolverine Gage? RIP Frankie Beverly. Before I let go, a DC area anthem. Definitely, I didn't do that before this game. Obviously, Frankie really has no tie to Michigan, but Frankie Legend, certainly a music legend. Frankie Beverly, certainly a music legend. Frankie Beverly and Mays, for those who don't know. Before I let you go, if you come to a colored person's cookout, that song is going to play. I promise you. Shout out to anybody who's been to a black cookout and heard that song. Definitely RIP Frankie. Another thing that Michigan needs to do better at. Obviously, we talked about the trenches, both offensively and defensively. We need to be able to establish an identity on offense and on defense. The guys that we thought coming into the season were going to be monsters, the duo of Kenneth Grant and Mason Graham, have been anything but that. Kenneth Grant, I don't think, has a tackle of his own this season. His stats like consist of half a tackle so far this season. This is no shot at Kenneth. We all know he's a baller. We just waiting for him to get it together. Mason Graham, I believe, only has like 3.5 tackles, something like that. It's not a lot. We need better performances from both of those guys if Michigan is going to be successful, right? Part of the reason that secondary was, so lethal a season ago, giving up the second least amount of passing yards a game last year, was because the front four could get pressure. At least that front seven could get pressure, but there wasn't a lot of blitzing because Kenneth Grant, Mason Graham, those guys, Jenkins, Josiah Stewart, those guys were getting home. And so far this year, that has not been the case. Definitely need to shore that up. Oregon versus Michigan might end up like Iowa State, Iowa. At this point, with the struggling that Oregon has been doing too, that's a game that in the preseason, we really had, marked on the calendar because Oregon and who they were supposed to be coming into this year. Now, the thing is, the best part for Oregon is that they haven't lost either of those games, but they certainly need to play better too. And shout out to my guy, Antoine Johnson, who is not here in the chat at least, but certainly is a friend of the channel. And my guy, he pointed out in the preseason that Oregon's offensive and defensive line weren't up to par for Big Ten play. Now, the jury is still out, but so far this year, it does look like they are being pushed around a little bit. One of the best concerts I ever attended involved Frankie Beverly and Mays in Cincinnati several years ago. Shout out to Troy. I will say Frankie Beverly and Mays is before my time in terms of like their heyday and all of that, but certainly grew up in a house where 12-inch vinyls were still being played. My dad was pretty old school in that way, so heard plenty of Mays, Frankie Beverly and Mays, all of that. So can definitely relate and appreciate the music. Shout out to my guy Mello, who has just entered the chat with this nonsense. This is nonsense, Mello. Get out of here. What's good, sir? Always love, no doubt. Good show, by the way. Great show, by the way. And I'm mad that you never gave me the link before. I had to find that show, by the way, Mello. Your man, 79 Steely, is here. He says, what up? Can't hold Genty against us. Same way I don't hold yours against y'all. Heisman finalists doing their thing. Listen, one thing is for sure, Genty's a beast. There is no way around that. I was underestimating what he could do, his effectiveness against Oregon, but he proved that he should be, at least if he follows this trajectory, should be there in New York at the end, playing the way he's playing. Ewers the same. I was a guy who wasn't huge on Ewers coming into the season, but what he did to Michigan alone opened my eyes. He could throw on the run, he can throw off balance, and the most important part is he's accurate with the football. And I understand it doesn't necessarily mean it's down the field, although he's shown some down the field accuracy too. But even in the little passes out to the flat, a lot of people underestimate the accuracy needed for those sorts of passes to be effective for a running back or anybody out there to catch that ball and get up the field without having to break stride or without having to, turn around and catch it behind them. He's very good at that. I am impressed with Quinn Ewers. I'm impressed with Texas. And that's not just because they beat Michigan. They really showed me something in the big house this past weekend. What's good? Shines like a family reunion of Buckeyes in here. That's disgusting. DR, I lived in DC for 12 years. Frankie got regular airplay every day. I believe that. Shout out to CR and shout out to Frankie for sure. Just sympathizing. I don't know what that means, by the way. What are we doing in the chat here? Texas versus Georgia should be a movie. I agree. Georgia seems like a team on a mission. That's for sure. After missing the college football playoff a season ago with that loss in the SEC championship game to Bama, and Texas looks like the real thing. I cannot wait for that game. I will be watching that one for sure. One of the other things, my computer is not cooperating. Anyone else get slammed with advertisements? Oh, I'm sorry about that. If the ads killed you guys, I apologize. People are asking if should have tried to pull McCord out of the portal. So look, I tweeted this. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I don't even know what's the verb now for tweeting since it's X. I X'd it. I don't know what it is. Let me know in the chat what you should say for Xing somebody or sending out an X. I don't know what it is. Whatever. Anyway, I tweeted this yesterday. I'm not joking that now it looks like a bit of malpractice on the part of Michigan for not going after the Honda McCord in the portal, considering what Michigan has at quarterback. That's no disrespect to anybody. I'm only going off what we've seen so far this season, right? So far, Alex Orji is 1 for 2, completing 50% of his passes. He does have a touchdown pass, but I fear my grandmother could have thrown that touchdown pass. No disrespect, respectfully. We have a guy right now, the starting quarterback, who has more interceptions than he does touchdowns. Never a good thing. He has yet to hit the 200-yard mark in a single game. Also, not necessarily great. Now, if we were running the ball effectively, then I would, him not reaching 200 yards passing wouldn't be a problem. However, Michigan doesn't seem to be able to run the ball effectively, which begs the question of we need, or, points out the fact that we need better quarterback play, which we are not getting, which I understand is also a problem for the offensive line. Shout out to my guy Les. What up, though? Anybody from Detroit knows what that means locally. What up, Madman? Did we get those poll results? We did get those poll results. And my guy, Kinetic here, is talking about the Discord. We are planning to start a Discord for the Maze Madman community. Free is open to anyone. There will be some exclusives in there for people who join the community, like early access to videos, some other things that we're working on. But seems like people like the Madhouse over the other option. I like, and this was brought up by my guy Dom, who's also in the chat, the Mad Big House, just to kind of give it some Michigan flavor. I like that one too. So it looks like that one is the winner by a lot, by the way. It's not even very close, if we're being honest. I'm very worried, and I'm bringing my family to the USC game for their first ever visit to the Big House or even a Michigan game. I bought these tickets months ago, but USC was when you thought USC was a safe bet. Yeah, nah. USC looks like anything but a safe bet. And to my guy, Dallas fan in DC, to his credit, he had been trying to open my eyes to USC. I was telling him to kick rocks, get out of here. There's no way USC doesn't play defense. We're not worried about USC. But because of the added fact that Michigan isn't playing extraordinary football at this moment, that doesn't even need to be said. But because of that, and then when you add in the fact that USC looks to be a lot better than they have been the last couple years on defense, and Miller Moss looks like a player on offense with those weapons that he has, including Zachariah Branch, that game now looks like it could be a loss. By the way, not just could be a loss. I'm sure Michigan or USC is the betting favorite as of this moment. So that game just got real shaky for Michigan. Moss is beyond what we got for sure. Not even close. Somebody says Tuttle. At this point, I'm gonna be honest. I brought this up in the last live with my guy on Eminem Mondays. By the way, Eminem Mondays every Monday. We move in the time to 7 o'clock, but Eminem Mondays 7 p.m. Eastern time. Me and the Maniac. It's a great time. But I brought this up. I want to see every quarterback play. Empty the bench in terms of the quarterbacks. Let's see what we have, and that includes Jaden Davis, the freshman, former 5-star quarterback out of North Carolina. We need to see it all. Jaden Denegal, I know he's in a lot of people's doghouse after that spring performance, but last year when he got into actual games, he looked like he could pass the ball around. Certainly is built like a quarterback. He has tree trunks for legs. Tall guy, 6'3", 6'4", has a big arm. That's a guy I want to see. Alex Orji, of course, we want to see more of Alex Orji. I think the best bet for Michigan right now is Alex Orji, not because of what he could do passing the ball necessarily, but that's an added element that defenses have to think about. However, right now they don't have to think about it because when he comes in the game, everybody knows he's just going to run it because Michigan will not let him unleash for whatever reason. But I think he needs a series, a quarter, whatever it takes to get him some rhythm. That needs to happen. Devin Gardner stated that he would advise Orji to transfer if they won't play him. I mean, that's the reality of a situation. I would do the same if I were him. Now, here's the thing. Michigan losing Alex Orji, as much as I'm saying that he's Michigan's best shot, at least in my opinion, in terms of getting some motion on offense, if Michigan loses Alex Orji, we're not going to necessarily cry about it. I like Alex Orji personally. I think he could be, a positive for Michigan's offense, but at the same time, it's not, like losing Davis, for instance, before we even get to see what he does. At this point, anyone has to be a better option than Davis Warren. Look, I'm not trying to disrespect Davis Warren respectfully, right? But disrespectfully, you're disrespecting the fan base and Michigan football with these performances. That's all I'm saying. The other state plays Cupcake City up until they play Oregon. I agree with this 1,000%. They have scheduled, as my guy, the Maniac, would say, Burger King Tech, West Wendy's University, the YMCA of Duluth. That's what the schedule looks like. But I can't talk too much because we know Michigan had a similar, front part of the schedule over the last couple of years. So I'm not going to get too crazy on them for that. Like, stop using this X, man. Show some respect when you're in a Michigan chat. You use the M. It's a M for Michigan, not X again. What is that? What is that even? Did the past season. What we do the past 3 seasons, Mello. Show some respect. Put some respect on our name. I told Sam Webb and Devin G that those plays didn't set Michigan up to win at Texas game, and they were upset. I'm not upset with you, Les. I hear you. I agree with you, sir. Aqua. Mellow. Took a page from Michigan's schedule this past year. Yes, they did. That's why I said I can't be too angry at it. I want a Burger King Tech t-shirt. Yo, shout out to that. We do need to make a Burger King Tech t-shirt. Michigan, you're being disrespectful, Mello. You're disrespecting first of all, you should be putting some respect on our name. The last 3 seasons, we certainly have beat the respect out of you guys. Show the proper reverence for your fathers when you come into a Michigan chat. Walking out the M, but your name is Mello. Exactly. Your name is Mello. Mello. Big M's. Put the M in the name. Sean Schrock says Sam Webb is a UM puppet. I'm not going to go there. I think Sam Webb does an excellent job at 24/7. Shout out to Sam Webb. Shout out to 24/7. But everyone's opinion is their own. Sam Schrock also said cheat again. So Sean Schrock is also going to be disrespectful. I'm warning you guys. Put some respect on our name. We have beaten you the last 3 seasons convincingly, by the way. Respect us. The champs, thank you. The 3-time defending Big Ten champions. Nobody's done that since there's been a Big Ten championship game. Only Michigan. Respect it. The only Big M is Urban Meyer, your daddy. Urban Meyer ain't walking through those doors in Columbus. Unfortunately for you, you know who is there? Crying Ryan. He's still out here with an APB out on a 85-year-old man, Lou Holtz. Where's Lou Holtz? Ryan Day was owned by Jim Harbaugh. Fact. Ryan Day was then owned by Michigan's current head coach, Sherrone Moore. Ryan Day was outcoached by the interim head coach at the time of Michigan, Sherrone Moore, in the biggest game of his season last year. Don't come here disrespecting Michigan. If we want to talk some facts, we could talk some facts. Here's Bugsy's daddy, no respect for cheaters, so you shouldn't respect Ohio State. Do we have to list the history of cheating that the other state has done? Get out of here. Put some respect on our name. Only one that cried on national TV was Charmin Toilet Paper Moore. Don't use my stuff. Don't use my stuff on my coach. Don't use my stuff on my coach. I use my stuff on my coach. Sure, he signed the contract on a Charmin piece of toilet paper, but he's just a man trying to get in. Pause. Don't use my stuff on my coach. By the way, those were tears of joy. Tears of joy. That man had just been informed as soon as he hit the tarmac that he was going to be the coach for the Penn State game. He went out there, he dominated in the only way that Michigan can dominate. However, 30 with straight runs in the second half. Put some respect on our name. Because here's the thing, it's still September, bro. It's September 11th. By the way, that brings me to another point. Obviously, never forget September 11th. Condolences to anybody that lost family members during the 9/11 attacks, all of that. I got a story to tell about that. I won't waste you guys' time with that today, but we have not forgotten America. America stands strong. That said, it's only September 11th, dog. Don't get it twisted. All right. Don't let this 1-1 record get you confused. Don't let the awful line play, the awful quarterback play, which, by the way, if the reverse was happening to you, I'd be doing the same. So I respect that, but respect us. But don't let that confuse you and lead you to believe that come late November, this is going to be the Michigan team you face, because I promise you it won't. I promise you, if you go to sleep tonight, resting your head and resting on your laurels, and believing that this is the Michigan team that you're going to receive, come late in November, you're going to be sorely mistaken. I also want you to know that this other state team that you've seen these first 2 weeks against Burger King Tech and West Wendy's University is not who you're going to be playing going forward. You look very impressive over these first 2 games playing the Boys and Girls Club of Chillicothe, all right? But it's about to get real for you real fast. Don't get it twisted. It's still Michigan. We still running it back. Like I said before, the other state better win it all, spending all that loot. Absolutely. No, we're not letting them off the hook. By the way, beating Michigan for you isn't enough this year. If you're able to do that, by the way, $20 million on a roster like it's the NFL or something leads me to say you guys need to win it all. And when I say win it all, I'm talking about the Big Ten. I'm talking about the college football playoff. And if you lose, I don't care if you lose to Georgia on a last second Hail Mary heave that bounces off of two Ohio State players' hands into the hands of the least likely Georgia offensive player who runs it in another 60 yards for the touchdown that beat you. I don't care. You have to win the championship, or this season for you is a bust. $20 million on your roster. You complain that Michigan cheated. If Michigan didn't cheat, blah, 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 as if Michigan had all your signs, not only all of your signs, but knew when to call the plays that they called versus what you were called. It's just a ridiculous idea anyway. You guys are living in some la-la land, but I get it. You voted for, never mind. I'm not going to do that. We don't do politics here. I get it. You guys are a little delusional. It's okay. But come late November, checks need to be cashed, and I want y'all front and center. Mello, you bring yourself right back here. Come late November. My guy Joe Goes just joined the chat. Ohio State doesn't pay money, the collectives do. Now we get it. We get it. It's sure it's the collectives. Sure. Yeah, sure, it's the collectives, but still, $20 million on your roster is the point. I don't care who paid it, right? The money could have fallen out the sky. You still paid it to these players to be there, whether it was to come back or whether it was in the portal and you got guys over, whether it was the guys straight out of high school, whoever you paid. And now you need to see success on the field. Otherwise, it's all for naught. Don't laugh at Melo's jokes. They're not good. David Pruden's not on crack. Let me say that. In fact, he said some very astute things in his time here in the chat. OSU isn't beating that Texas team we just saw. And if they did, a big if, it would be extremely close. I agree 1000%. Anybody who disagrees that the OSU would beat Texas by anything disrespectful is being disrespectful. The other state didn't actually spend money on news players. Current players got mo dough. Cool. So you spent money on the current crop. The current crop that's lost to Michigan, by the way, for 3 years. The Denzel Wards of the world that lost to Michigan for 3 years. The JTTs of the world who's lost to Michigan for 3 years. By the way, while we're on the subject of JTT, this man, whole college, the whole aura surrounding him in college football is off of one game against Penn State. Penn State, who is coached by James Franklin. James Franklin, who has proven he is incapable of beating the other state. So I'm not impressed. I'm just not impressed. JTT has proven nothing to me. Anyway. We can't miss on an immediate quarterback upgrade, that's for sure. Day is not going to have mercy like Sark did. He might cash in on that 100 hanging that you guys ducked out on in 2020. We were sick. Let me say that. We weren't feeling good. We couldn't play. Y'all didn't want what we had, so we couldn't. We did y'all a favor. That was for you. But anyway, Ryan Day has no shot of hanging 100 on Michigan. I'm gonna be completely honest with you. Ryan Day is incapable of doing that to Michigan or probably anybody else. Ryan Day lives in a fantasy world that clearly he has invited people like you, Bugsy's daddy, Mello, Steely goes to. You guys visit Ryan Day in La La Land quite often, and then you come here into Michigan chats and spew this nonsense. Michigan versus everybody. Facts. Bottom line, stamp it. They pray and pray on our downfall, but every time we hit the ground, we bounce up like round ball. All right, Hov. Goes with I like it. But nobody's preying on your downfall. I want you completely healthy. I want you to go into that game feeling great. Come into the Michigan game at your best, because when you lose, it's going to be that much better. It's going to feel that much better for me and the rest of Michigan fans. Sherrone would clothesline a player like Woody Hayes before he let 100 get hung on us. Say it again. It's not happening. By the way, speaking of illegalities, your coach clotheslined the player. What's up with that? But y'all want to talk about cheating. Get out of here. Where are we in likes? Typo day. I see. Yeah. Get those likes up. 60 people in here. We need 60 likes. It costs you not a penny to be a little friendly. I promise. You check your account right now. You check it after you hit like. And if there's any money missing, you let me know. Probably just so I can point and laugh, but let me know anyway. 46 current viewers. Salute. Oh, my guy Toast. Shout out to Toast. Everybody knows Toast in the Michigan circles and the Ohio State. I'm sorry, the other state circles. You know who Toast is. Hit that like. I appreciate that, sir. Funny Days offense put up 62 and 56 in 2 years. 62 and 56 in 2 years. On who? Oh, you're talking about when he was the OC. I'm talking about the head coaching version of Ryan Day. By the way, that was Urban Meyer's team. We're talking about Ryan Day's team, but I digress. And by the way, 56 and 62 is a far cry from 100. Still, you understand math, right? That's like damn near 50 more points needed and 40 more points needed. But I digress. Whatever. Here we go. Oh, they're getting angry now. Michigan will lose to Oregon, USC, and Ohio State. Man, you guys so creative, bro. This is why I like y'all, man. This is Michigan. Because if you just replace the M with the B, you get genius level. Bugsy's daddy. Didn't Rutgers put 49 on accurate? OSU put facts. Say it again, Blue. Facts. But they think they nice. I'm not here to judge. Woody was best friends with your legend, Coach Bo. Yes, he was. And he lost to Bo more than he beat Bo. That's also a fact. Appreciate it. Michigan looks like Colorado. Now goes, you're just being disrespectful, all right? I told you once, you come into these Michigan chats, you show the correct reverence, which you clearly are not doing here, because Michigan looks nothing like Colorado. Even when our offensive line play is garbage by our standards, it's 10 times better than Colorado. All right. I want you to get it. Now, I will say this: Colorado has a better quarterback than we do. That's for sure. What's your point with that? What's my point with what? I missed it. Because Bo coached under Woody before he started his own head coaching career. Yes, we know the history. Shout out to David. 56 was Day's team. Was it? I mean, maybe it was. I don't know. Maybe it was. But it's still a far cry from 100 is the point, right? 56 is not 100. Here we go again. Has an unfixable offense. Stop it, Mello. Stop it. I know you wish that were the truth. I know you do. I know deep down you want to believe that. But it's just not true. When we fix it, by the way, we're going to use it to beat the cleats off of Buckeyes. That's all. By the way, I don't care if Michigan wins. Let me not say that. But if Michigan doesn't win another game this season and beats the other state, it would be a success for me personally. I would count this as a success. Because you guys don't deserve nice things. Super Cat. The other state losing to Oregon as well. I don't Oregon has left a lot to be desired. But if they did lose to Oregon, It would shock no one. Bo spoke at the funeral, had class, because Michigan is a classy place. It's okay, Bugsy. We'll keep the M and give you the L. Woody's funeral for sure. Thank God you don't have that boxer clown on tonight. Almost is Tully. Oh, you're saying I'm almost tolerable if I don't. First of all, don't call names out here, man. Come on, man. Be better than that. The boxing clown is a Michigan fan, a diehard Michigan fan who's not a clown, by the way, and knows a lot of Michigan football. Maybe you don't like his accent, but you know what? He brings great energy to the show, and he has no love for the other state. So I like him personally. Bo lost more to Bruce. Great. You guys just love moving the goalposts, don't you? If somebody brought up Woody Hayes. We respond to the Woody Hayes comment. Then they say, "Oh, but then there's Bruce." Great, bro. All right. And what Bruce do for you? Wolverine Gage, have you watched Oregon? You guys might even have a shot. Don't disrespect us. Don't say we might have a shot. Don't say we might have a shot with anybody on this schedule. Michigan is a threat to beat everybody on the schedule. Disrespectful. Respectfully, we're cooking Colorado. Will Johnson will have Trav locked up. Book it. Goes look like a lost member of the Village People. Don't do that. Shout out to my guy Goj, and he doesn't look like a lost member of the Village People. He looks like somebody who served this country. Shout out to Goj. How many natties did Bo win? We're not talking. Man, y'all, so you said respect and you disrespect Woody, so it goes both ways. How I disrespect him? What I say that was disrespectful about Woody? If you could quote the disrespect I said about Woody, I'll agree with you. But I didn't disrespect Woody Hayes. If by saying he lost to Bo more than he beat Bo is disrespectful, then we need to go back to, congeniality or whatever. I don't, because that's absurd. We out, bro. I appreciate you coming through. No L coming this way since you got busted for so tired. You guys just running with that narrative. It's disgusting. I love the other state fans spending so much time with us tonight. It is a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing. Dude, that guy's a clown. Respect you, but him, not so much. He is a Michigan fan. All right? Bottom line. 75% of Michigan players from Ohio with Bo. I mean, Bo knows where the talent was, all right? The other state still has to prove one thing, and that's beat Michigan and win the Big Ten. That's a fact. A reminder to all suck guys, this show is dedicated to Michigan supporters. You guys are just guests here, so respect the channel. Respect being the key word here. What up, Moose? My guy Moose is here. Best Ohio chose to come to Michigan. In fact, look no further than Charles Woodson and Desmond Howard, two Heisman Trophy winners from the state of Ohio, but knew where the good football was played, and that's at the University of Michigan. Shout out to those guys. 3M, why don't you tell everyone where you're originally from? Everyone knows where I'm from. I'm from Ohio. Listen, I'm going to be, okay, here we go. I am from Ohio. Grew up, raised in the great city of Dayton, Ohio. If you're ever going on vacation, do not go there, but pass through. Maybe stop at a museum or two and get the hell out of there. Shout out to Dayton. I love my city, by the way. Not exactly, a tourist destination per se, but great place to grow up. I learned a lot, all of that. But that said, I was always a Michigan fan. My family on both sides are Ohio State fans. I've told this story 1,000 times. They don't understand why I'm a Michigan fan, but I grew up watching people like Charles Woodson destroy David Boston and win national championships and Heisman trophies. I like Michigan. Just made more sense. I am from Dayton. Sean are trolls. Got that gorge right. Near Dayton. From the city. I'm west side of Dayton, Ohio. Charles Woodson is more revered than Orlando Pace. This is a big fact. Anybody who tries to say otherwise is wilding. People hiding behind screen names disrespecting people is not cool. Facts. We will not tolerate disrespect. If anybody is being disrespectful from this moment forward, mods, get them out of here. I'm from Kettering. Shout out to Things Are True. Kettering, right down the street from Dayton, suburb of Dayton. Shout out to Kettering. OSU just announced a private club room in the Horseshoe. $4,500 for memberships, $1,000 for social membership. That's kind of crazy. Who would want to go to a private room club in the Horseshoe anyway? Go Blue, of course. So you're the only Michigan fan in your family. The lone Michigan fan. My son is now a Michigan fan. It's just me and him against the world, like it should be. Michigan versus everybody. Out of here. Shout out to Les Toast. I'm about to get out of here too. I want to thank everybody who came through. By the way, my guy G Boulder, they have to pay those players. Yeah, you're right. They got to pay those players. Join the club. Kettering, home of Phrase Pavilion. Fact. Michigan needs to continue getting the NIL game together. We can learn from other schools. I agree. Horseshoe need more bathrooms. The lines are ridiculous. Shout out to that. Anyway, we will be back. I will be back on Friday with my Michigan versus Arkansas State preview. Be sure to be there. We're going to I'll give my score predictions in that one. All of that. Shout out to Mello. Peace. Steve Lee, Matt, peace. Goes, all the other Ohio State fans, even Schrock, peace. I'm missing somebody. Bugsy's daddy, peace. Of course, all my Michigan fans. I got to give a special shout out to G Boulder, special shout out to DK, special shout out to my guy Troy, the mods here, Dom, Moose, my guy Kinetic, all of those guys, of course. Big shout out to them. Until next time, though, stay angry, my friends.